Hello everyone, Bashar here. So, I have been building up my temple and that's the final situation. And while I was getting it, I did start getting something that was pretty annoying and I want to talk to you about that one. So I'm talking about the temple closing upon you leaving it without giving you the opportunity to use any of the, I want to say power-ups, but let's go with the official term and say medallions. So, that's what I want to talk to you about, right? The temple closing unannounced, right? And so that has been driving me to the point of paranoia in which, I actually lock the rooms before I go in, which is not ideal, right? You could get something better to lock always. Yeah, that's a tad little bit annoying. So, how does that happen? That So the how is very simple. They suck, right? Now I don't want to say bad things, but yeah, I mean they suck, right? They don't know how to program. Because the thing is, guys, if it was not something allowed and we were using some kind of exploit to do this, right? Then I would say, okay, I mean deserved, right? No, right? It is allowed, but they suck at programming, so it does happen. So when does it happen, guys? It does happen when you portal out, right? Let me correct that. It can happen when you portal out of your temple. So what you have to do is you run your temple, and then let's say I'm in this garrison, right? And I see a profitable trade opportunity, or I have to leave, right? Whatever it is, right? What I have to do is I go to the nearest checkpoint, right? I teleport here to the foyer at the beginning and I step out regularly, right? Not portal out. So when you do that, it's not going to happen. So that is the workaround, right? You have to, run out instead of, teleporting out. And the thing is, I do have a few conspiracy theories about these. And by the way, I want to say this. This is absolutely unrelated to the video, but I see the Spy Master and it doesn't help me at all. And it's so interesting because, for days and days I have been trying to get Spy Masters and this does nothing for me anymore. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird feeling. So, yeah, what you have to do is, as I said, instead of portaling out, you have to use the many checkpoints around and you have to teleport to the foyer checkpoint and then, move out. So when can it happen? So my crazy conspiracy theory, as I was saying, that is, I think it starts happening when your temple gets a little bit proper, right? The number of rooms in there actually affects what's going on, right? That's not a proven thing, right? But thing is, guys, I trade a lot, right? That's how I get my currency. And I have been known to step out of my temple when I saw a profitable deal, many times, right? And I never, ran out, right? I was always using portals, right? Many, many, many times, right? Hundreds of times, I don't think would be exaggerated, right? And it has never closed down on me up until relatively recently, where the temple has gotten starting to get decent, right? So, when I had like 10, 15, 20 rooms, it was never happening, right? But whenever I started getting above 30 rooms, so this is about 30, right? 4 here, 12, 20, 28, 30, 31, 33, 35 or so. The roads count as well. So, yeah, it does happen when you have more rooms, I think, right? It can happen. And the thing is, guys, it can be, extremely nasty. So I was trying to build up this chain and I'm waiting for an altar of sacrifice here, which is the rarest room, I believe. And I lost this chain twice yesterday. It was terrible. And, I had this armory, I had this alchemy lab, thaumaturge, and corruption chamber. And, I had a protection medallion, right? I finished the temple, I portaled out, bang, 3 rooms gone. And the thing is, guys, I had some garbage here as I trying to save my main chain, and boom, 3 main rooms gone, right? And I was a little bit infuriated. I was a little bit afraid that I would get the altar of sacrifice before I get these 3 rooms again. I did get it again, right? I did get all of these 3, and then it deleted them again. I think I lost 2 rooms at the time, and as you can see, obviously I was able to get back here, but I still haven't gotten the altar of sacrifice, so I wasn't screwed by this. But this is very frustrating and very stressful, right? So yeah, the solution is, as I said, to step out of the foyer, normally without portaling. If you portal, there is a chance that it, is going to close the temple without warning. And thing is, guys, you don't have to, finish, right? So people have said, they were in the middle of their temple runs, like in the earlier rooms, and it still closed down on them. So imagine you are losing out on doing that many rooms, and also you are losing rooms without being able to use these. So at first I thought GGG did something logical, right? Silly me. So I thought it was, so I was getting this very rarely, right, back then, but it wasn't hurting so much, so I didn't pay attention. But yesterday it did destroy me twice. So yeah, I have been I did a little bit of research, and turns out, yeah, that was the case, as I said. So yeah, and I was talking about recently, if you remember, locking the rooms before you get in, locking the rooms after. So that is the mystery. I thought, as I said, they were doing something smart, like it was auto closing if I didn't have any locking medallions, which is still not fair because you can get room cards, right? So what do I mean about this? So thing is, guys, let's say I have my main chain here, and suppose I don't have a protection medallion, right? Right? But I do have some garbage room cards that are not really very important to me. What I can do is, if I can link them to my main chain, I can actually throw them as fodder to the destabilization, right? For example, guys, imagine I get an altar of sacrifice here. I get an alchemy lab there, right? I throw those rooms in front, and they get destabilized, so I don't lose from my main chain. So this is by no means a guaranteed protection method, because I am going to lose 3 rooms at this point, and I can just lose A, B, and C, right? I can still lose my Catalyst of Corruption, but I will not be losing A, B, and C, right? I will not be losing my Corruption Chamber, Thaumaturge, and Alchemy Lab at the same time. I will at least be, so, they have no right to do that, right? I mean, I should be closing my own temple. And if you don't want to, be in for a nasty surprise, just step out of this foyer, right? It's very annoying, right? Because the thing is, I did get used to that, because so if it was happening all the time, I would have gotten used to it by now, right? But as I said, I did a lot of temple, not professionally, not in this setting, but I portaled all the time, and I wasn't punished for it. So I still have a tendency to portal out. That's right? I have to. So even if I don't have to, so let's say I protect before I enter, right? Then I can just portal out, right? But in order to get the habit going, I still use the checkpoints. And of course, that loses you time. That's also annoying. I think that should have been patched a long time ago. The season has been out for 1.5 months. This is something that should be patched. So, and I think they could have at least provided us with a band-aid solution, like, you can't portal out in the temple, right? Or if you portal out in the temple, it takes you to the foyer instead of, taking you out to the Val temple area, right? They should have done something. I mean, portaling out and losing rooms is very bad, right? I mean, this takes a lot of effort, right? All of these 3 rooms are relatively rare, and putting them back on, takes like 5-6 runs if you are lucky. Yeah, thankfully I never missed on an altar of sacrifice, so I'm still waiting for that altar of sacrifice here. But yeah, that's about it, guys. So the unannounced closing is based on you portaling out instead of running out. Just run out to avoid the problem until the people, I don't want to say any bad words, until they fix it. Hopefully they will fix it, because this is something that should be fixed. And I'll see you guys in another video. Bye bye.